Hey, what up, guys? Coming to you this morning with the Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua 2 breakdown. This is for the Unified Heavyweight Championship. The fight takes place on Saturday, December 7th. It'll be the main event on DAZN. Pretty big card, pretty big fight. These two guys coming in, if you don't know what happened in the first fight, I'll go over that real quick. Joshua came in heavy favorite, took on Andrew Ruiz on June 1st of this year, knocked him down in the third round and then got a little careless, and Ruiz caught him and hurt him, put him down, and just continued the attack. Joshua seemed like he might have got his legs back in like the 6th round, but he was tired, and then he looked like he stunned Ruiz again, but it wasn't as bad as he thought as he tried to jump on him, and then Ruiz just started teeing off on Joshua and hurt him again, and the referee finally stopped the fight in the 7th round right there, and Andy Ruiz scored one of the biggest upsets in heavyweight history and became the first ever Mexican-born heavyweight world champion. So, big time win right there, and now these two guys is immediate rematch. Joshua had a rematch clause in the contract. Immediate rematch is taking place now on December 7th. So we're going to break this fight down. We're going to see what each guy needs to do to win the fight. If each guy can win by, either decision or knockout. And then I will give my prediction on the fight. So first up, we're going to start with the defending champion, Andy Ruiz. What does he need to do to win this fight? Well, Ruiz needs to hope that Joshua fights the same way that he fought before, but I think he needs to be a little bit more aggressive from the get-go. If he thinks he's got Joshua's number, he can be a little bit more aggressive, or it really depends on the kind of style Joshua comes out to fight Ruiz in, because him setting those traps and also, getting hit caused Joshua to open up and come to him. Obviously he doesn't have the height and the reach on Joshua, so he's going to want to make sure, Joshua opens himself up. But I do think he needs to be have that effective aggressiveness in the rematch, that confidence, not leave himself open, but box his way in and hope for, if he can't land the similar type knockout that he had before, hope for possibly a later rounds, and he could wear down Anthony Joshua. That's what I think he needs to hope for if he can't land those big punches early, because I do think Joshua is going to be a little bit more defensive in this one. So I think Ruiz needs to hope for that. But if Joshua fights him the same way as last time, then he just needs to set the same traps that he set before, and that would work out very, very nicely for him. So that's what I think Ruiz needs to do. He needs to get inside. He needs to box a little more, throw some jabs, throw some combinations. He is a pretty solid fighter, but the height and reach is going to hurt him. Try to hit that body in the early rounds and wear down Anthony Joshua to where Joshua lowers that guard, and then he can start teeing off on top. That's what Andy Ruiz needs to do to win this fight. Now, the second question is, can Andy Ruiz win by knockout or decision? Well, he already proved he can win by knockout. Similar type fight, yes, he can beat him by knockout again. Absolutely. He's got the power. He's a good heavyweight. He actually has some nice telegraphed punches. He doesn't just throw, wide shots. So, yeah, he can win this fight by knockout. He's proven that. Can he win by a decision? That's going to be tough. Joshua is a very good boxer. If this fight goes to the scorecards, to be honest, I don't think Andy Ruiz can win this fight by decision. I don't see it. Unless, it would just have to be, Joshua would just have to not be aggressive and box hardly at all. It would pretty much be Joshua would have to be on his bicycle, which, hey, maybe his confidence is shot. Maybe that's the deal here. But, I just don't see Andy Ruiz taking a decision if it goes to the scorecards here. And then the last question is, what kind of impact is Andy Ruiz going to have, win or losing? Well, if Andy Ruiz wins this fight in a rematch, he'll leave no doubt that he's got Joshua's number and that he is an elite heavyweight. He's one of the top 3 in the world, and he'll walk out of this fight with 3 belts. So this will be huge for Andy Ruiz to leave no doubt on everybody's mind. If he loses this fight, you know what's good about this is, again, a lot of people forget that Andy Ruiz was right around a top 10 heavyweight coming into this. His only loss was to Joseph Parker in a fight that he should have won the world title a few years ago by a majority decision, or he could have. It was very close. He lost a very close majority decision in Parker's home country of New Zealand. So, Andy Ruiz is a top heavyweight. So a loss to Anthony Joshua, not going to hurt him that much. He'll probably drop into maybe the lower half of the top 10, but he's not going to drop much. I mean, even if Joshua comes out and whips his ass right away, he still has a knockout win over Anthony Joshua, and he'll now be the former heavyweight champion of the world. So I don't even know if he drops out of the top 5, to be honest. So a loss is not going to hurt Andy Ruiz that much, and then he becomes a marketable name. He's already made a name for himself, and pretty much he's in that position where he's made a name for himself for life. So I don't think a loss is going to suck for him. To lose always sucks, but in terms of the impact of a loss, I don't think people are going to be that surprised if he loses, and it's going to just leave the door open for pretty much the rest of his career to fight anybody that, he's pretty much going to have, a wide open market and get to choose a lot of his fights or get a lot of opportunities. He's just at that stage now. So I don't think a loss would really hurt Andy Ruiz all that much. Now we're going to pose those same 3 questions for the challenger and former world champion Anthony Joshua. So the first question is, what does Joshua need to do to win this fight? He needs to box right out the gate. It needs to be jabs, combinations, and he needs to make his presence felt that the first time was a fluke. He needs to come out. He needs to really look at the Lennox Lewis-Hasim Rahman 2 fight and how aggressive but smart and timed and telegraphed Lennox Lewis fought. Precision is going to win this fight. He's got to come out and box, set his punches up, and when he lands something big, set the knockout up. That was his problem. He hurt Ruiz with a great fucking punch in the first fight in the 3rd round. And then he got careless and started throwing loop-in shots and opened himself up and, basically let the smaller man have a wide opening to him. He can't do that again. Don't let Andy Ruiz open up his arsenal in defense to land something big. Set up your knockout. I believe Anthony Joshua can wear down Andy Ruiz and hurt him and knock him out whenever he wants if he boxes and does what he was doing the first 3 rounds of that fight. He got careless when he hurt him, and that's pretty much what happened. But then in the 7th round, when he stunned him again, same thing. He thought he hurt him more than he did, and he jumped in at him instead of setting up his punches and telegraphing stuff. Anthony Joshua could win this fight if he does that and sets himself up and boxes the way he knows how. He can set it all up. Do what he did against Vladimir Klitschko. That was a smart, technical win right there, and he, set up his big shots. He can land them whenever he wants. He's got all the talent in the world. He can do this in the rematch, absolutely. That's what he needs to do to win this fight. Next question. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, can he win by knockout or decision? And the answer is yes. He can win by either one. Knockout, he almost had it. He had Ruiz hurt. I definitely believe he can knock Ruiz out in a rematch. Absolutely. He's got the power. He's got the skill to hurt him. Absolutely he can win this fight by knockout. He can finish him. Can he win by decision? Absolutely. He's the better boxer. He's got the reach, everything. He can pile up the points and win this fight by decision as well if it goes to the scorecards. Absolutely he can win this fight by decision. Okay, now the 3rd question. What impact is Anthony Joshua going to have on boxing, on the heavyweight division if he wins? Well, I don't think a lot of people will be surprised if he wins because he was a favorite the first time. I think he's the favorite in the rematch, and a lot of people expect him to win the rematch. So the impact it's going to have on boxing is just, you're going to see just a good comeback story is really what it is. And he's going to be right back where he was earlier in the year. I don't think anybody's going to argue him for number 1 because of the loss. But, you know, that also depends on what happens this weekend with Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz. So there's a lot of, you know, things here. I think you still have to rank him as one of the top 3 heavyweights if he wins, especially since, sorry about that, guys, especially since he'll be holding on to 3 world titles still, you know, but he's definitely just gonna prove that he is what we thought he was. He had a bad night in June, and he avenged that loss and left no doubt who the better man is. So that's what's going to happen if he wins. Plus, he'll win the world titles, and he'll pretty much get a lot of his credibility back following that loss, you know? So, yeah, so that's what will happen if he wins. So now, here's a question. What's my prediction on this fight? Who's going to win the fight between Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua in the rematch on Saturday, December 7th on DAZN? Well, for me, you know, I know a lot of people are thinking that Andy Ruiz has Joshua's number and all this bullshit. You know what? I think Anthony Joshua is going to knock the fuck out of Andy Ruiz in a rematch. I think he knows what he did wrong. I think he knows that he had Andy Ruiz. A lot of people are acting like this is a, you know, this was a fucking Rahman type win over Lennox Lewis, you know, where he just blasted Lewis. Lewis was winning that fight too, though, but he just didn't hurt Rahman and put him down. I think Anthony Joshua is going to go back. He's going to look at what he did wrong the first time. He's going to fix that mistake. He's a smart fighter. I think he's angry about anybody that's writing him off, you know. And I think he's going to be the unified heavyweight champion of the world once again. So, you know, I do like Andy Ruiz and the story behind his victory, but I don't see him winning this fight. I think he could. I think if Joshua makes the same mistakes he made the first time, and Andy Ruiz is smart enough and he's good enough to win the rematch, absolutely. But I don't think he's going to win this fight, Andy Ruiz. I just don't see it. I think Joshua is going to win, and I really have no doubt in my mind that he's going to win. I, you know, of course, because Ruiz won the first time, yeah, but I don't think Ruiz has the skill to beat Joshua. I don't think he's the better fighter at all. And I don't even think it comes down to a question of heart or anything, because we've seen Anthony Joshua show a lot of heart, like in his fight with Vladimir Klitschko. So, yeah, I got Anthony Joshua winning this fight, guys. So the card should be decent. One of the fights on the undercard got scratched. Got a good heavyweight fight, Alexander Povetkin and Michael Hunter. That's on the undercard. That's a co-feature. That should be good. Other than that, not too many big names, but should be a decent card. If you have DAZN, you don't have to pay anything extra, guys. Just $20 a month, and you get this huge showdown right here, Saturday, December 7th on DAZN. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. That was the Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz rematch breakdown. True boxing. You've been hit with the truth.